welcome to iReadit. This is your 542nd dose of the internet for Sunday, April 14th, 2019. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Tormund's Giant's Bane.
I realize I forgot to start the audio recording. God damn it. I can pull it out of the video.
Should we redo that?
Just start the whole thing over. No, I can just pull it out of the video. It's just...
I need to fix my fucking camera. My camera's the worst. My placement's the worst.
It just takes more steps. Please remember, everybody, you can help support the show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can also pick up some of our merchandise in the link below if there's ever anything that you would like us to talk about. So whether it's a news story, a video game, a movie, just something you have a theory about and you want us to consider it, please send it to anywhere.
Consider the following.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, all of those are at iRedditcast. You can also email us, which is feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. So, your name is something Giantsbane?
Tormund.
Tormund Giantsbane.
Mm.
Sounds like a video game character.
He has been in a video game, yeah.
Yeah? What is it? Is it Lord of the Rings or something?
It's very close, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, actually,
I didn't want to go with Game of Thrones because I felt like that might have just been too easy.
Well, I am fairly easy.
Well, yeah.
No,
I'd like to try and argue with you, but I just can't.
I was going to go with Jon Snow, and I was going to do my Jon Snow, but I'm not very good at it. So I was like, I'm going to try and do Tormund because I have a beard.
Okay, real quick. On that note, right? So I've started up my YouTube series and stuff now, right? Which, incidentally, if anyone wants to go check out my YouTube stuff, it is Swan, which is like the bird, not my last name, Swan Song Productions. You can find it on basically everything. And one of the main series that I'm doing is First Impression, because there's all these movies that I haven't seen, all these games I haven't played, all these series that I haven't watched, right? And so I'm watching, playing, reading, whatever, the first part of it. So what is the first impression that this series gives me, right?
All right, so you got to watch the entire first season of Game of Thrones.
No. It's like the first episode. Like
No. That doesn't work for this one.
Well, so here's the thing.
You can't just watch the first episode.
I didn't even watch the first episode. But the idea behind it is that something should hook you in the very beginning. The first episode, the first chapter, the opening sequence, etc. If it doesn't do that, then it did its job wrong. Like, things should hook you from the beginning and make you at least want to see what happens next. Right. Well, because I had never done anything with Game of Thrones, I never watched an episode, all of the knowledge I have of Game of Thrones is just from you regurgitating shit all day long for the last 7 years of my life.
Because I'm very bad at trying to keep spoilers in.
Which is fine, though. I don't mind spoilers too much. Anyway, hang on.
Real bad about trying to maintain. So I'm like Tom Holland in that aspect.
So one of my episodes that I've already done, it's already available online, is on Game of Thrones, but it is on the first book, because I decided that I would start where Game of Thrones started.
Oh, so you read the book?
I read the first chapter and a half of the book. I read the prologue and then the very first chapter.
And you keep moving these goals back and back. First chapter, that's it. What? No, you got to finish the book. Come on.
No, that's not how that works, Nathan. Anyway, so I read the prologue and the first chapter, and then made the video and posted it online and all that crap, right? And I'm trying to, build up, views and interest and subscribers and shit like that. And so, thankfully, unlike a general news podcast like what we're doing here, whenever I do an episode on a piece of media, there is a dedicated subreddit to that piece of media. And of course, there's 4 different Game of Thrones. There's Game of Thrones, there's Free Folk, anyway.
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. And so I make the video. Once it's all ready and processed, I go online and I start trying to promote it. And because I'm not a douche canoe, I always read subreddits posting rules before I just drop it and move on with my life, right?
Right.
I'm a moderator of our Final Fantasy. We have 130,000 subscribers, and it pisses me off when people don't read in big, bold letters on the side of our friggin' subreddit, you must have 10 comments before you post a self-promotion link. So I always read the posting rules. And so the posting rules for our Game of Thrones was pretty relaxed, actually. But they have a requirement of tagging something with spoilers or no spoilers. If it's not tagged properly, then the post won't go up at all.
Right.
And So I read through all of it, and it's like, we consider everything to be a spoiler. And then a little bit farther down, in another section, is a list of things that are so well known that they don't consider them spoilers.
Okay.
Which I forget what the whole list is, but two things on the list are friggin' the Sir Waymar Royce or whatever his name is, the young boy, and I forget dude face's name because I'm pretty sure I was pronouncing it wrong. It's like Garand or something like that.
Okay.
Discovering the circle of dead wildlings and then the White Walkers coming in and killing them, right?
Right.
And then that was one of the things on the list, which is incidentally in the book, is the prologue. And then another thing is the Stark children finding the direwolf pups, which is what happens in the very first actual chapter of the book from Bran Stark's
It happens in the
point
first
of view.
episode, too.
Yeah, and so those things are so well known that they don't consider them spoilers. So I'm like, cool. And they didn't have any other posting requirements of like, you need to be an active member on the sub or anything like that. So I was like, cool, I can literally just post this and move on. I post it, it's there for maybe 30 minutes, and then it gets taken down for spoilers. And I'm like, wait. The fuck? And of course, because like I asked the mods in both in message responses and in mod mail, like, yo, the fuck? And they just ignored me.
Welcome to Reddit.
Yeah, I know. I hate Reddit.
Excuse me. That's just how Reddit is.
Yeah, I hate Reddit.
I hope you enjoy. Like, welcome back to reality, really.
Yeah, right? People suck? Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Welcome to the reality in which everyone's a douche canoe. Oh.
Sucks to suck.
But I don't want them to be douche canoes. Well, that sucks for you, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
So, that tangential story aside, how have you been, friendo?
Not so bad. I
Party like
purchased.
a rockstar?
I purchased some. Yeah, I'm fucking tired. I purchased some Magic cards for the first time ever.
You disgust me.
Years. It sucks, but I have a deck for a new format. And then, like this last week's been like super fucking easy. We've had like almost no people in at work, so it's really chilled. Yeah, everything's been great for me so far.
That's good. That's good. You want to talk about some news?
Sure, we'll move on.
Sick. All right, let's get into this garbage. There is some good news today, at least.
10.
Facebook are morally corrupt, pathological liars, says New Zealand Privacy Commissioner.
Whoa, I thought we were going on to fucking news.
This isn't anything new. What the hell?
This is submitted by Kidney Damage to Our World News.
Damn, stop drinking so much, bro.
Kidney damage? Why are you hitting me so close to home, baby?
Hey, Nathan, how do you got a friggin' gallon bottle of gin in your freezer?
Yes.
Yes.
No, actually, the worst part is that I've kind of drank an energy drink or four since the start of the year, but not actual energy drinks. I've drank a couple bottles of G Fuel.
Oh, okay.
I bought a cup because I like the cup. It's all riff-raffy and colorful. But my roommates bought a bunch of G Fuel, so sometimes they'll give me one if I'm tired during a gaming session. I got the remnants of like peach tea, which is fucking dope, actually.
On the very rare occasion, I will pick up a Monster Zero Ultra, but largely I have abandoned them. In any case.
And this is like slightly different because it's non-carbonated and there's no sugar and everything. It's just loaded down with electrolytes and vitamins and stuff.
Yeah, but I really like that carbonation, bro.
Well, then, okay, so what you do is you do the exact same thing. You get the G Fuel, and then you get a Soda Stream for carbonated water.
That sounds like way too much effort.
My friend Brendan, actually, the one that was down here earlier, he has done that. It was funny because he was showing me this weekend, and he was like, "Here, try it. I put the Soda Stream in it, so it's all carbonated." And I took a sip of it, and I'm like, "Brendan, what flavor is that?" And he goes, "It's like a mixture of icy blue and tropical." And I'm like, "Yeah, tropical, Brendan?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Did he just hand you a glass of soda water?
Oh, he handed me a glass of soda water with with the G Fuel in it. But I was like, tropical, Brendan? And he took a second, and then he was like, oh, the tropical has coconut. And he looked at the packaging, and it's like actual fruit, like shavings and everything.
Your roommates are trying to kill you, buddy.
No, he's not my roommate. He's a friend of mine.
Whatever.
But yeah.
Still trying to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, and then I got to see one of my favorite people this weekend that I hadn't in a long while. And that was Bailey. But anyways, Facebook.
News that is not news, that they are morally bankrupt and pathological liars.
I mean, that's not wrong. The only time they ever really change is after they get caught. It's like any other fucking corporation. Like, you operate as illegally as possible until you get caught. Then you get slapped on the wrist and fined, and then you change your operation.
You want to know something immensely interesting about this article, by the way, that it revealed to me that I was not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So, currently, every single service that you use, right, has a terms of service, an end-user license agreement, whatever, that you have to sign to use the service. Right. Facebook's no different.
Mm-hmm.
So, interestingly enough, Facebook, and I'm sure many other companies do this, in their terms of service, that when you sign up for an account through New Zealand, you agree to being subject to the privacy regulations of the United States and not New Zealand.
I know that's not everywhere.
It's really interesting, though, because, for instance, New Zealand made it so that the Church Christ shooting, you can't share anything involving that. I mean, you can talk about it, but you can't share the video that the guy had. You can't share his manifesto. Right. You can't do any of that stuff. It's banned from media because they don't want that going out there, because it's like, you don't need to see that. We can tell you that it happened, but we don't want to memorialize and immortalize this guy's heinous act of just sheer evil towards humanity.
Meanwhile, in America,
it is spreading like wildfire on Facebook, and New Zealand is criticizing the shit out of Facebook because Facebook's like, what? It's not on us because of the Communications Decency Act of the United States. We're not responsible or liable for the content that people put on our platform. And it's like, yeah, that's in the United States. We're in New Zealand. Yeah, but our terms of service is to agree to the United States' code, the United States' privacy law. And New Zealand's like, guess what's gonna change?
We're gonna alter our bargain.
You can get away with that shit in the United States, but you ain't getting away with that shit here.
Because to them, they say we are not the United States. That is why they're passing, gun laws.
That's why most of the world is doing things that are like, yeah, that flies.
Because they fucking, in spite of the United States.
That flies in the United States, but not here.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't know how I feel about 100%. Like, I don't think 100% giving your guns up is the answer, but I do think sensible gun laws making it harder for the mentally challenged and the mentally unfit to just not have guns.
My first reasonable step that I would like to see, like without like trying to overreach or anything, would be to regulate guns along the lines that we regulate vehicles.
I would like for them to...
It's registered. It has a registration number that is tied to you. You have to have insurance on it. If anything happens, you are liable for it. If someone steals your car, your insurance covers what happens. If something happens with your gun's insurance covers it. Because the fact that there is just no recourse for anyone whatsoever.
So here's my plan, right? And this is a little crazy, but first, I'm going to get a squad of people together to do a bunch of hiring. And the hiring is for people who are going to be able to, like psychoanalysts and more people like that, more people just like them, so that we can have a larger workforce for that. Then we get rid of the Charleston loophole 100% by saying that even after 3 days, if you have not heard back from the government, you still have to wait until you're cleared to get a gun. Then I'm going to have this new army of people who are doing background checks to just do background checks back to back, just so that you can just pump these out so that people can still get their guns, but the background check is actually credible and not a fucking waste of time where you can just wait 3 days and then get it even without it.
Yeah, well, lots of improvements could be made, but in any case.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be fixed because it's pretty fucking
You're infringing on our freedom.
So I think I was listening to a bunch of people talk because, I get bored at work and I have YouTube available. So I was listening to Pete Buttigieg talk, and he said that the Republican Party has really become the party, or they're trying to stylize the party of freedom, right? But they look at it as the freedom from, where it's the freedom from taxes, the freedom from big government, the freedom from, having to vaccinate, stuff like that. Where Democrats are also a freedom party, but they are more along the lines of freedom too, where it's like freedom to dress how you want, freedom to love who you want, freedom to, get paid not based on my skin color, stuff like that. And they just butt heads over this when they're still fighting over the same generic thing, freedom.
Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense if you don't think about it, right?
I don't know. That being said, of the Democratic candidates, if Bernie Sanders doesn't make it, I'm probably voting for Pete Buttigieg because he's very well spoken. I like him. I like him better than Beto. I like him better than Kamala Harris.
I will be very interested to see what happens in regards to the 2020 Democratic nominee. Like, it's becoming a interesting quarrel of a few too many
Coral. Damn it, Coral.
God damn it, Nathan. Of a few too many big names. I mean, and the concern that I have isn't that we have lots of real contenders that are wanting to be part of.
No, it's just too diluted.
Well, the problem that I'm seeing larger is not that it's too diluted, because with the way that our two-party system works, one of them will be put up on the pedestal, right? One of them will be. And I'm immediately believing that it's going to be Bernie Sanders, because while there is a large amount of support...
They fucked up real hard last time and they realized.
Well, that, and also because he still has the largest supporter base. While there are large sects supporting people like Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke...
I forgot about Elizabeth Warren. She's just very forgettable to me.
She's doing a lot of things that allow her to be forgotten. But in any case, so the problem there is that my concern is, not the problem there, is that you have a large group of supporters that are diehard supporters of Sanders. Great. And there will probably be enough support that he gets the nomination. My concern is that the people that are diehard supporters of Warren, Harris, O'Rourke will then go somewhere else because their candidate didn't get it.
Like last time?
Just like last time, where all the Sanders supporters were like, no, we didn't want Hillary. We really don't like Hillary. And so they found other ways to go. And that is largely what cost the Democrats the election in 2016.
Yeah, it really fucked them.
And so I am concerned that will happen again.
For instance, I was one of those people. I totally voted Jill Stein.
In any case,
I voted Green Party.
Let's get back to actual news.
9.
Yeah.
2 students accused of jamming school's Wi-Fi network to avoid tests.
Some heroes don't wear capes. This is submitted by Saifali51 to our technology.
Geniuses.
Some heroes wear.
That said, they have been arrested and charged with computer criminal activity and conspiracy.
Well, yeah, that is not legal, but I'll be damned if I didn't want it to be. These guys are real fucking heroes, all right?
Yeah, this is in Secaucus, New Jersey, and yeah. So, we don't have their names or anything, but they just didn't want to take tests, so they were just like, you know what? We can make the computers fuck up because we're smart.
Well, these guys are fucking... I feel like they're in the right here. I feel like... All right, so stay with me. This is how I feel about this situation. You should not punish them in the same fashion that I think it's Germany that doesn't punish prisoners from trying to escape, because it's just natural human right to want to be free.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it is natural human right to not want to stress over a test.
Yep.
So I feel like these guys are in the right, and that you should just let them walk.
Yeah, see, there's this one problem, Nathan, of that this is in America, and in America you only have rights when it's convenient.
Damn it. Or when you have money.
Well, I mean, then you just have, free reign to do what you want.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, I mean, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Also, I mean, like, maybe increase the security of your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you leave your password as admin.
Like, put some work into protecting your systems.
Yeah.
8.
House Judiciary Committee calls on Robert Mueller to testify.
This was submitted by... Sorry, I have to scroll down slightly. Dan to Our Politics.
Good work enunciating that, man.
Thank you.
In any case, so the House Judiciary Committee is calling on Robert Mueller to testify after they get the Mueller report. So the special investigation by Robert Mueller with the FBI actually lasted 22 months, so just shy of 2 years. He submitted a 400-page report. The Attorney General...
Each like section with its own summary?
Yep. And the Attorney General, William Barr, summarized 400 pages into 4 pages. And Congress and multiple outlets are like, no, we want to see the report. And William Barr is currently working with Mueller to redact the report for the sake of national security. A lot of people are not happy about that and just want to see the report in its entirety, whatever that means.
So the report was 400 pages.
Yes.
William Barr got it and then almost immediately released four fucking pages with like a couple fragments of quotes from it.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I can't read 400 pages that fast.
I think he skimmed the shit out of it and found like 2 things that he liked and was like, yep, clears them.
Nope, he read the summaries of each section and said that's good enough.
Except it's not.
So we got the cliff notes of the cliff notes.
Well, I gotta hand it over to the White House and let them redact and shit.
In any case, though, regardless of whether Congress gets a redacted version or not, they are going to have Robert Mueller testify and answer questions of the public regarding the investigation and his report.
Ooh, shit. So the public is going to be around asking them questions?
I don't know if that's what they meant necessarily. More like answer to the public in regards of the investigation.
Well, at least it'll be public.
Yeah, it is expected to be one of the most watched and televised political spectacles in history.
Oh, absolutely. I would request a day off just to like prepare my entire body for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just
Mueller.
Just to sit there and watch a bunch of old people talk for 8 hours.
Mueller. I'm sorry,
7.
it's Mueller.
Iran designates United States military forces as terrorist group.
This was submitted by Notorious98 to Our World News. Didn't that happen already, though?
Well,
I thought that happened last week.
No, it technically happened this week. It was 5 days ago.
Okay.
Remember that we take news from the whole week now because we only do one podcast a week.
Yeah.
And before everyone's like, oh, man, better just fucking turn them into a glass bowl, they did this because we're assholes. So initially on Monday, President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, designated part of Iran's military as a terrorist organization. And so he designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps because there are indications that they might have assisted terroristic cells across the Middle East.
Hasn't Trump paid into things that have helped terroristic cells across the Middle East before? He works with the Saudis.
Yes, absolutely. It's a massive hypocrisy of the world.
Anyway, so he designated their part of their military as a terrorist organization, and so they were like, that's fine. We believe the United States Central Command is also a terrorist organization because you also help bitches, and you're also up in people's shit, and you're also killing civilians, so fuck you. And the recent reveal ended up being that it doesn't have a whole lot to do with Iran. It ended up being a gift of sorts from the President Donald Trump to the Israeli minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is up for re-election, who is also under a lot of scrutiny for being a corrupt asshole. And by further putting down Iran, which is something that Netanyahu does, it makes Netanyahu look better. To the point that Netanyahu tweeted out a thank you to the President of the United States.
Yeah, because he pretty much set him up to win that fucking election.
Yeah.
Thank you for meddling in our affairs.
Nathan, it makes me sad. Jennifer's in the chat room. No, you're a terrorist. No, you're a terrorist. We're all terrorists now. How do you feel about that, Nathan? You look concerned.
I don't like how much money is being passed to terrorists.
Yeah.
Regardless of who claims that they're terrorisms or not.
It's all about benefiting our own economies and our own agendas in one way or the other. Hey, you discovered oil in your country? Congratulations. The United States is here to rescue you.
I mean, to be fair, right? Stay with me.
I'm here.
The United States government has done some great and terrible things.
Yes.
And it has all been in the name of some form of political agenda. So
yes.
By technicality, they are terrorists.
Yes. The difference is that we're fighting the good fight, Nathan. We have morals on our side.
Yeah, I would like you to talk to some people that we've completely fucked up and see if we still have morals.
Yeah, that's fair.
6.
The first picture of a black hole opens a new era of astrophysics.
This has... Oh, god damn it. Pressed the wrong fucking tab.
How could you?
This is submitted by Science News to Our Science like 82 times.
So we finally got an actual picture of a black hole, sorta. Thanks to Katie Bouman, an MIT graduate who developed a specific formula and algorithm to allow a black hole to be photographed. Because the problem with photographing a black hole is the gravity of a black hole.
Submitted by Star Wars and SNL to Our Space.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
The problem with trying to photograph a black hole is that the gravitational pull of a black hole is so strong that even
it sucks in our camera.
Well, I mean, it would, but it also sucks in the light, so the light can't get away. So instead, what we have managed to do, thanks to Katie Bouman's work, by taking a whole bunch of satellites, a whole bunch of telescopes across the world, pointing them in the same spot, and then using this algorithm to parse a whole bunch of data out to generate this image, is black holes normally have a whole bunch of light around them because they're pulling in stars and brilliant gases and stuff like that. So they've pieced together an image to show essentially a brilliant gas with the black hole in front of it, so that instead of seeing the black hole, we're seeing the devoid of light that the black hole creates, which is as close to photographing a black hole as we will ever be able to achieve. Since it devours light, there's no way to picture it otherwise besides seeing its shadow by putting it in the way of something that creates light. And thankfully, by the way, fuck all of the people that I have seen that are like, man, the picture's kind of blurry. Fuck you. We have never even gotten close to anything like this before, and you're complaining that the picture is blurry? Shut up. Anyway, so we did generate a photo of a black hole, and it's freaking massive. It is the black hole that is in the center of the M87 galaxy, and it is around 6.5 million times the size of our sun. Million, billion, really friggin' big. It's huge. It is larger than our entire solar system.
That's yeah, that's kind of scary, seeing as how if we had one, you know, like next to us, we would just be enveloped and destroyed.
Billion. 6.5 billion. Take how big our sun is, 6.5 billion more of them, and that's how big this black hole is.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It could eat from the sun to beyond Pluto. That's how big it is. Yay!
Yeah, I would not want to be anywhere near that thing.
Well,
that thing is terrifying.
If it helps, Nathan, it is 55 million light years away.
That's about as far as I am from Brock.
You know what from Brock, like the Pokemon master?
Yeah, so in the Pokemon games, when you're going to go fight Brock, when you walk into his place, there's a guy that you fight right before him,
Yep.
and he's a kid with a Diglett, and he's like, "You're light years away from facing Brock."
Dang, that kid's so wrong. I was talking to Tony the other day about the black hole, right? And he's like, the concerning thing is, no, I brought it up about how
the concerning thing is that it's not closer. You know what I'm saying?
But it could be. That's the thing, is like the light we're seeing is 55 million years old. It could be like 20 million light years away, and we still wouldn't know.
None.
Yeah, exactly.
None.
You won't know until it's too late.
None. Well, okay. I guess we're gonna be fine because it was like 20 million light years away. We're fine.
That's all we need, is just like to be surprised by a black hole.
By it. Gotcha.
Oh no! Oh, it's some travel.
We didn't see it coming. It snuck up on us.
Squish.
Oh no. It's just one day fucking stars start blinking out of like a field of view, and we're just like, huh. Well, fuck.
I hope those stars are really far away. That's the thing. Like, whenever they're like, we found another planet that's real, it's in the habitable zone of a star, we could probably live there, and it's only 6.2 billion light years away. And I'm like, that planet's dead. Like, for all you know, that star went supernova 3 billion years ago and destroyed that planet.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that because of the way time works and everything, we're actually getting snapshots of the past for all these places.
Yep. So I'm going to go on another tangent real quick. I had this long discussion with my science teacher in high school. All hypothetical. So let's say we have a ship that travels at the speed of light. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you're traveling at the speed of light, and let's say we have the ability to see Earth perfectly from any distance, right?
All right. See Earth perfectly, any distance, speed of light.
We'll say we're 10 light years away from Earth.
Okay.
If we train this telescope or this camera or whatever on Earth, the light we are seeing is 10 years old. So we are seeing what happened 10 years ago.
Right.
If we start traveling at Earth at the speed of light and are able to look through this little telescope, does the Earth move twice as fast?
I don't know if that's how that works.
Because we are getting the light twice as fast. It's coming at us at the speed of light, and we're coming at it at the speed of light. So if we were able to look at this little camera, would it appear as though the Earth were spinning twice as fast?
Yes.
Right?
I think. I don't know if this is troll physics or not.
I don't know either.
That might be troll physics.
And so if you were able to use that same camera to look at things on your sides, do things like slowly get slower the more behind you look? Because like straight behind you should just be black because the light can't catch up to you.
Right. I don't know if that should count.
But if like, at like we'll say like 105 degree angle from forward, that light should be kind of slow, right? Because it's right. Gonna still kind of hit you on the side, but it's not gonna be it's interesting. There's no way to like actually, besides just like that's how math works, right? Probably not, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually how that works, but I would love for it to actually work like that.
5.
Texas lawmakers consider the death penalty for abortion. That's the direction we just went.
Yo, are you telling me that Texas is becoming Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, I mean, Texas is, well, it's Texas, buddy.
This is submitted by Jester X to R Not the Onion.
So, real
Dude,
quick.
this is like Sharia law.
Real quick, they have already rolled this suggestion back a little bit after an immense amount of backlash over it, but they're still considering it. And the argument that is being posed is that if a guy goes up and kills a pregnant woman, he is charged with murder twice.
Right.
So why should they not charge a mother doing abortion with murder? And one of the penalties for murder in Texas is the death penalty.
All right. So just let me get this right. So if a woman who is walking home, minding her own business, gets beaten and raped, and then gets a pregnancy from that, and then goes and gets that pregnancy aborted, she can be put to the death for that.
Yes.
You guys are worse than the Taliban and Al Qaeda and shit. That's the fucking worst.
So
what? No, that doesn't make any sense. Don't have that. That's bad. That's wrong.
Well, and you want to know what the argument there always is?
What?
Well, sure, you can make that argument, but it's only like 0.5% of abortions are ever due to rape cases. It's normally people just doing elective abortions.
I don't know. Like, even then, I don't think we should have this law for the death penalty for abortions. That's just stupid.
Well, and like the other thing is, it's like
that's not progressive. That's actually like going back to a bad piece in history.
Well, the problem that I have is that women should be able to do whatever they want with their own bodies. But even beyond that, if that's just for some reason, that's just too wild of an idea and is off the table, right? They are so focused on just the protection of the fetus, but they give no option for the mother to just be like, okay, I will have this baby and then I don't want it. And it's like, no, it's your baby. You have to take it. It's like, no, you're the one that made me have this baby. I want to give it up for adoption and put it into a reasonable and healthy program.
That's because women don't afford the same rights as men to them.
Right. No, I'm completely aware. But it's like, okay, if you're going to force them to have the children, then you better give them the options for programs if they don't want it. And it's like, oh no, they need to take care of it. It's their kid. It's like, yep, what? Because there is just I mean, there are options, but it's just not good options when it comes to allowing that child to live and exist away from its mother. It's like, well, it's your child. You're responsible for it. And society will ostracize you.
Unless you motherfuckers start adopting people more, then you need to stop fucking suggesting shit like this because it's seriously detrimental.
Like, if you're going to take that direction, then you better set up the programs to give them alternatives.
Yeah, because that is in no way, like, helpful or anything to these people. You're putting this law forward because you think, oh, hey, if there's a consequence to it, there's like a serious enough consequence and weight to it, then they're going to stop doing it. But that doesn't mean that. That just means that they're going to be doing it more in private with coat hangers and
probably not coat hangers, but definitely unsafe practices with people who are not certified to do it.
Yeah, like you are actively causing more harm because of it.
4.
It's dumb. WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange arrested after 7 years in Ecuador's embassy in London, UK.
Because of his cat, right? This was submitted by BBC News to Our World News.
I don't think it was because of his cat.
That's one of the reasons that they stated was because of the health conditions maintained in the house for his cat or something like that.
Okay,
I essentially didn't clean up.
I didn't read anything about that. I just know that he was arrested, and so he was initially taking refuge in 2012 to avoid extradition to Sweden over a sexual assault case. Now, that sexual assault case has been dropped, but there were still charges outstanding against him for failure to appear in court. And then after all of the WikiLeaks stuff and, you know, the stuff involving, what was her name? Chelsea Manning. He is now wanted in America for conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, which could land him up to 5 years in prison. And so he has been arrested and was already charged with the failure to surrender to court, which could lead to him being in jail for 12 months. And there's currently no news on whether he will be extradited to the United States for
Sweden is
sentencing.
also contemplating reopening his rape case.
Yeah.
So this guy's got a lot of trouble all around the world. Whether or not it's warranted or not is another question that people like to come to their own conclusions
All
to.
right, so he's going to break free, and he's going to go hang out with Edward Snowden in Russia.
No, he's going to hang out with the McAfee guy in South America.
Oh, man.
Do you know that the McAfee guy, the guy who created McAfee initially, was arrested in South America somewhere for murder?
No, but I also know that he's fucking crazy.
He is. He's completely crazy and super rich, and actually is a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan, because on his Twitter handle, his profile picture is a split picture, one with him as one half and the other as Old Man Joseph.
Dang.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see, though, what happens with Mr. Assange. He lived in a single room for 7 years.
Yeah, that would have driven me bonkers.
Yeah,
that
right?
pretty much is prison.
I mean, yeah, it is. I guess there's just different levels of freedom that you have living in a room with your own amenities compared to living in prison.
As an Ecuadorian citizen.
I guess. I don't know.
Not quite a
3.
citizen, actually.
Millennials being squeezed out of middle class, says OECD.
Wait, middle class still exists? This was submitted by
Sorta.
DSCWRB to Our World News.
So basically, anywhere in an advanced economy, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the middle class are getting poorer.
Yeah. The middle class is not going to exist for much longer because we're just going to eliminate it.
Yeah, it is starting to just, like, the structure, the economic structure is, there is a massive spike that is itty bitty where all the rich people are, and then everyone else is way the fuck down on the bedrock.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that problem is just getting larger and larger.
Yeah, I feel like the more you guys complain about us being lazy, the more we resent you and will not actively help you baby boomers when you're on your deathbeds.
I mean, a good number of them are already expiring.
Good. Ooh, hot take.
But yeah, we're gonna reach a climax at some point, and it's just gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, because more and more people are being put lower and lower and lower, while we are now at the point that it's like, what, 8 people have the same wealth as the bottom half of the world? The world? Like,
Yeah.
I understand that, that brings in the starving kids in Africa into half the world, but still, 8 people.
That just causes me to think that the human civilization sucks and that we need to either change or die out.
I mean, largely, there's no reason for a billionaire to exist in any capacity. That is a made-up amount of money for someone to have. And for there to be as many of them as there are, especially when those people are becoming billionaires off of underpaying their lowest-level employees and watching them strive to survive, like, it's a shitty process. It's a shitty cycle. I hate it.
Yeah, and it's almost a never-ending cycle until, the middle class is ripped out of existence.
Until we start eating rich people?
Yeah, we should start doing that.
2.
Wait, hold on. If we start eating rich people, can we also seize the means of production?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
White House proposed releasing immigrant detainees in sanctuary cities targeting political foes.
This was submitted by Is This Real Life to Our Politics.
You want to know, like, one of the most stupid, petty arguments I've heard in a while?
What?
So you got people like Nancy Pelosi, right, that are just hypercritical of the White House and Trump, especially in regards to the ICE detainment camps for immigrants trying to make their way into the United States. So what does the White House suggest? All right, we'll just put them on a bus, drive them to your special liberal sanctuary city, their words, and just let them out on the street and drive away and see how that goes.
Yeah, no.
Like, fuck you. That is not what they're getting at here, you piece of trash. They're getting at the idea that you are just mistreating these people because you want to.
Yeah, I mean, it is in fact true that if you dumped these people onto the street with no help whatsoever, they would still be in a better condition than what you're keeping them in now.
And, well, the idea is that they would be so desperate that they would commit a bunch of crimes to better themselves in these sanctuary cities.
But that's pretty much entrapment at that point.
Yeah, it really is, and it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah, like, that's fucked up. And these people are fucking awful and stupid. You're creating a situation where one of the only feasible ways is to commit crimes. Just so that you can point at them and be like, oh, check, they committed crimes. It's like, no. Dude, stop like curating this to fit your narrative. These people are only committing crimes because you're keeping them in poverty and not letting them integrate into our society.
Yeah, and currently ICE has around 50,000 people locked up.
And because our society sucks.
Like,
culturally, America is either really fucking cool or really shitty.
Well, and these people are leaving. They don't want to leave their homes, but the places they're coming from, they're not coming here to undermine America. They're coming here to get away from the ridiculous level of oppression to the point that their country soldiers are murdering them in the streets.
But they're gonna take our jobs, even though they're all drug dealers. What does that really say about us?
Not to mention, like, they also, like... Anyway, yeah.
1.
On a different note from the ones we've been talking about, South Korea is legalizing abortion after a 66-year ban.
Oh, this was submitted by Fluffy Otakus to Our World News.
Nice. Good work, Fluffy Otakus.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Good work.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot to say beyond that. The country's constitutional court, they needed 6 judges to vote to overturn the ban. They ended up getting 7 of the 9 judges to support it. So lawmakers in South Korea now have until December 31st of 2020 to revise the country's law to allow pregnancy termination before 20 weeks to be legal. Abortions after 20 weeks will still be illegal.
Okay.
Currently, in the current state of things, if a woman had an abortion in South Korea, she could face up to a year in prison and be fined 2 million won, but that equals around $1,780.
That's not so bad. Well, I mean, I guess $1,000 out of your paycheck is kind of shit. So I am glad that they're progressing towards a more
modernizing.
Yeah, modernizing. Just it's a reasonable thing. Abortions have existed since the dawn of time. They've just gotten safer, and people just dislike them because of their own religious biases, at least for the most part.
How
Some people
dare
tend to
people
do it
have an
because of
opinion, Nathan?
non-religious biases. But yeah, no, it's generally a religious thing.
Yeah, and it's
if people can provide to me one non-religious reason we shouldn't have abortions, then please, I would definitely like to take that in.
It's a thought, but at least the steps are being made somewhere. I can't help but hope that eventually everything will catch up to a better future. There's just so much opposition from, like, this old gentleman's club that's still beating their Bibles for the sake of making political policy.
All right, so I hate to say it because it sounds very awful, right? But I feel like we can truly progress as a society to the point where no one feels completely discriminated against.
Star Trek.
If we took out most major religions. Because a lot of strife is caused by religion.
Yeah, I can see that. There's also like I instead would like people to just practice their religions but not force it upon others or make decisions for other people based on their religion. I realize
that's another thing that, like, if we eliminated missionaries and people trying to convert others without people actually actively seeking them out, that would be great.
So instead, we should just start having, like college fairs where, you go to a fair and, you have a whole bunch of people that are like, you should go to our college for these reasons. We should just have religious affairs, just religious fairs, just if you want to come and check out like 18 different religions, including atheism and the Satanic Church, you're more than welcome to. Whichever one fits best for you. Cool.
That being said, just guys, you got to remember that the Satanic Church is not the same thing as the Church of Satan.
Okay.
There are two separate organizations, and they actually hate each other.
Cool.
But that being said, I mean, they're both really decent organizations. They both one's way more satire, honestly. But like I feel like they do a very good part in what they do, trying to show people the hypocrisy of just forcing Christianity everywhere. Like, sure, we are originally a Christian nation, but we're quickly becoming an atheist nation.
Yep. The world is in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It's just, we're progressing. We're all connected. Science is there. We can prove more because of our technology. Like, we're just catching up,
Hey, Nathan. What'd you care about in the last week?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's
first
coming
episode
on
came
today.
out yesterday?
No, it's today.
Today?
Yep, I'm excited. I have to like clean my upstairs area so that we can have a Game of Thrones like get together.
Cool.
So I'm excited. There was another thing. The Star Wars trailer was pretty sick.
Episode 9 or the game?
Both.
Okay. I've not watched the trailer for episode 9. Of course, I'm like super checked out on Star Wars right now.
Dude.
I have not seen The Last Jedi. I've not seen Rogue One. I've not seen Solo.
Okay, so I haven't seen Solo. I heard it's not very good. I've seen Rogue One. Rogue One's fucking amazing. Actually, a pretty decent flick. Apparently, it was supposed to be
letdown.
It was supposed to be
I said to put on the third one there. I've also heard that The Last Jedi is a pretty severe letdown.
Yeah, The Last Jedi is pretty much of a letdown. But the problem here is that the most recent trailer, or not the problem, most recent trailer, it provided hype for literally everyone, including prequel fans.
Yeah, I heard that it has Palpatine and Lando in it.
Yeah, so Lando's got a visual shot of him driving the Millennium Falcon, and Sheev laughs at the end. Off screen, and when they first showed the trailer, the screen went black, and Ian McDiarmid, the guy who did Sheev Palpatine, appeared on stage, and they were like, "Oh, whoa, that's crazy!" And everyone's like clapping, and then he calmed everyone, and then he said in Palpatine voice, "Roll it again," and then they did the trailer again.
Nice.
So Palpatine's great. I love him. I try to do his voice, but I'm not very good at it.
That's cool. So yeah, I am excited about Fallen Order though. That game, like, I understand we just have a cinematic trailer right now, but I'm pretty stoked for it all the same.
There's some important things to know about it. It's being designed by Respawn, which did Titanfall and the Apex game.
Yep.
It is commissioned by EA, so you have to worry about EA a little bit, because recently they've been really killing it with these loot boxes, and by killing it, I mean killing their fucking games. Well,
EA also said on Twitter though that it has no microtransactions, no loot boxes.
EA didn't say that. It was a developer at Respawn.
Oh, okay. Currently
but they said that they were going to have no microtransactions and no multiplayer. It was going to be a single player story driven game.
No. The official EA Star Wars account said that the game would have no microtransactions, no loot boxes, and that the loot boxes would not be added later.
Oh, see, I read that on a developer Twitter.
Yeah, the official EA account
that's
said
probably
that.
that's probably what confused me.
Now, that said, I do imagine that they will try to twist some sort of loophole workaround bending of the definition of a microtransaction, because I don't know if companies believe that a season pass is considered a microtransaction.
It's definitely a microtransaction.
I doubt they think it is. That said, though, one of the things that does not seem to upset people so much when it comes to DLC or additional content, stuff like that, is the idea of full expansions. Because there was an expansion done for Horizon Zero Dawn, and that was received very well. And that used to be the norm, was that you would have a game, and then you would have a full expansion released for it that would just still build off of it. The problem with a lot of season passes is very often they are very small pieces of content that feel like you just kind of butchered the main game for the sake of building something that you could sell people later. So if you are going to develop something extra, something separate that is a building on piece, you are adding on an addition and expansion rather than just taking pieces of the core game out, that'll be received very well. But we'll see. The game comes out in November.
Yeah, so fingers crossed it's good. I'm hoping.
Me as well.
God damn it, my beard here keeps getting stuck in this fucking microphone.
Anything else, buddy? No? Want me to move on?
Yeah, no, I don't think I have anything else.
What did I care about in the last week? What did I care about? I can tell you one thing that I cared about, and that is Chrono Trigger.
Wow. You cared about Chrono Trigger?
I have never actually played all the way through Chrono Trigger before. And
What?
Yeah, I know, and I am doing so now.
What a fucking... What? How do you... I don't understand how you exist.
I know, I'm the fucking worst.
All right, so after that, there's a phone game that I think is free called Another Eden, and it's made by a couple of the developers.
So that's enjoyable. I've been enjoying the hell out of Rising of Shield Hero.
That one's pretty good. Oh, so speaking of some anime, there's a new season comes out. So there's new anime.
Oh yeah, Fruits Basket started on Friday. The completely redone Fruits Basket that's going to go all the way through the story. Pretty stoked about that.
So Demon Slayer started, and the first episode was very generic and mediocre. So everyone be aware of that. Fairy Gone started, and the first episode was filled with too much bad CGI, and the pacing and plot seemed very rushed and contrived, so it did not seem like a good show. But, you know, that was the first episode, so I'm going to give it a little bit of time.
A season 2 starting in July. I'm pretty stoked about that.
What was that?
ReZero.
Oh, yeah. The important things, though, is that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is continuing because it's just going to, finish out this season. And it's actually really close. It's getting very close to the end, and it's fantastic. We just introduced Doppio, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay.
The other one that's going from start to finish and not stopping for seasons is Dororo, because it is a remake of a 1950s anime, or 1969, sorry. And it is fantastic. I decided to catch up. There's like 13 episodes, and holy fucking shit, from start to finish, it's nothing but amazing.
Noted.
Every single episode is 100% quality.
And I don't know if there's anything else I really cared about at this point. So let's work on getting out of here. Please remember, everyone, you can help support the show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can also pick up some of our merchandise in that link below. Otherwise, you can send us anything you want us to talk about. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit. All of those are at iRedditcast, or by email, which is feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. You can follow me on social media at Schwan Michael and Nathan at Bimmenstein. I personally just tried to make a note to myself to be more active on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at Schwan Michael if you want to be part of that conversation.
I have not done anything on our Twitter in months because, I'm just not good with Twitter.
I'm learning that Twitter is fucking weird. Anyway.
And I keep forgetting to, do shit in the morning when I wake up.
Beyond that, remember that this show does go live at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube, but you can always catch the VODs or the audio-only version later. The audio-only is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. That is your 542nd dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwan.
I'm Tormund Giantsbane.
And please remember, everyone.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Goodbye.
Bye.